So I got a buddy. I got to tell you, as I talk to you here on the radio, and you're watching on TV, it's like we're at home, right? This is what I feel. So Manny Alfano will call me 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 times a day. Manny Alfano. It's like he's an Italian guy from Jersey. I love this guy. He's the head of One Voice. God bless him. He is such a dedicated Italian American. I'm in Greece. The phone is ringing. Manny Alfano. I'm in Italy. Manny Alfano call. And if you don't call me, you call 10 times a day. Jonah taking down the statue. You know what though? You gotta love it. So his lieutenant is Andre DiMino. And you know what? The fight is just. The fight is worthy. As I think about my grandparents coming over, and as I walked the streets of Salerno just a couple weeks ago, and I went to Duomo, right in Salerno, the Cathedral of St. Matthew, and I felt you could feel the vibes, the heart and soul of your family right there, you know? It's something you can't describe unless you're there. And now they're trying to take it all away. They're trying to take it all away. And in the name of my grandparents, I'm standing fast and holding on to my heritage. You're going to have to rip it right out from me, and you ain't going to get it. I'm telling you right now. So we appreciate the fight. So, Andre, welcome to the show, man. Tell Manny, Tom. I'll call him back.
I'll tell him.
I'll call him back.
But you described him perfectly.
Yeah. God bless him. He'll call you. And we all knows about it, but man, he's so fired up about it. Tell us about the heritage that they're trying to take away from us and why they're doing it, man, as we approach Columbus Day.
Rightly so. Manny is absolutely right in what he's doing because there's a tremendous attack across the country regarding Columbus Day and our heritage, and it's just something that we just can't sit by. We're working on the battles, and we can't lose the war.
Yeah, it's so true. So you think it's more of an attack on Western culture than anything else, you said?
Well, certainly. I mean, they're using Columbus himself as a figurehead because of Western culture. And in essence, Columbus Day is an important day for all of Americans. I mean, we're Americans first, but we preserve Italian heritage, just like you said. And Columbus Day was such an important thing to all of our ancestors. My parents, I'm first generation. My parents came here from Sicily, but my grandparents, my grandfather worked on the docks here in New York, and he was always happy when Columbus Day came by because it was the one day that he had that respect. He didn't have respect the other days.
Oh,
not back then.
To that point, and I did an interview with Fox News, and then the reporter, young reporter, she was nice. She was off camera, and they were asking me about Columbus Day. Well, the Italians weren't vilified like other ethnic groups. And I went, excuse me, the largest mass lynching in the United States of America was of Italian Americans in New Orleans in 1861. It's why they built this statue by Columbus Circle of Christopher Columbus, and remembering those 11 Italians killed and hung from lampposts and their disrespect. And then I would hear stories, and my grandfather would tell me he would get his paycheck robbed every time he'd go to the hat. He was a hatter. He made the hats in Manhattan. They would rob him. Oh, those, forgive me, and you and I could talk like this, the guineas, those Dagos. Oh, Joe DiMaggio would never eat garlic because he didn't want to smell like garlic because they would say, oh, look at the whoppers. He smells like disrespect. People don't understand. I saw it. I lived it. I know it. We spoke Italian in the house. My parents would not allow me to speak another language outside the house. Why? Because we're American and you speak English now.
Absolutely correct. When I was a kid, I only spoke Sicilian growing up in Brooklyn, and then I moved to New Jersey, but I grew up in New Jersey. My parents kind of made me feel like Italian was a bad thing because they didn't want it spoken outside of the house. It was kind of like that shame. But now I think I've revolted against that because I'm so proud of our heritage. And we got to work on this because when you look at Italian Americans, we're the last ethnicity that it's okay to bash. You see the stereotyping is rampant, and with these attacks on Columbus Day and so forth, we just can't sit back and let it happen.
You can speak Sicilian?
I do, yes.
Oh! So you and again, now my Italian friends are gonna get mad, but I'm gonna make a Godfather reference. They're gonna get mad at me, but no. Just let's look at the artistic value of the Godfather of Coppola and all the Italian Americans in that film. Let's not the subject matter. Did you understand the Godfather when they would talk Sicilian? When Robert De Niro starts talking and Albert, they started using. I couldn't understand. It's a whole nother language. You understood that?
Actually, those scenes in Sicily sounded just like my family.
Wow.
Absolutely identical and perfectly spoken.
I thought they were faking it when I first saw it.
No, absolutely.
And then I saw, but that is authentic because it's Sicilian. And then when I went to Salerno, and I'm trying to speak the university Italian that I actually learned later, and I'm talking to my driver, and he's with the Southern Italian accent, aspetta, and I had to stay with him, because I couldn't quite hear it. it, you know.
Yeah, no.
And when I go see my family in Avellino, when we go there in a couple of weeks, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and let them get them talk. So what do you think we could do, Andre, before we let you go? Andre DiMino, and the name of the organization, by the way, is an Italian-American One Voice Coalition. Executive board member is Andre DiMino. And a big shout-out to a lot of folks helping Manny, like our buddy Sal Divino, I know, steps up, a really dedicated Italian-American. What can we do? How do we maintain the legacy?
Well, we have to fight things. For example, the NEA, the largest teachers union in the country, passed a resolution to change Columbus Day to Indigenous People Day. We have a petition up there right now. We got thousands of signatures. We're opposing it. We're going to be going to the Secretary of Education because this is an inappropriate thing. You've got Princeton, New Jersey now is changing to Indigenous Peoples Day. And just last night, we heard a sneak resolution being brought up today in Washington, D.C. to change the district to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. It's the wrong thing to do. This is a false, fake news narrative about what Columbus did. They're attributing all these things to him, and it's just absolutely incorrect. This was no Garden of Eden when Columbus got here. So they want to raise up indigenous people. Well, we can't accuse them of what they did. They shouldn't do it to Columbus, too.
Yeah, Andre, well said. Very well spoken and very, very, very well said. Thank you. Andre DiMino, Italian-American One Voice Coalition. Appreciate it. Give Manny our best. I'll call him back, I promise.
Absolutely.
I'll call him back.
Thanks, Joe.
And thanks for your fight.